Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bengal Chamber's Olympics at Adda. Nothing can be more interesting than having an Adda session just before the
This meeting is being recorded.
Now I would request Mr. Shorojit Purokayastha, Deputy Director General of the Bengal Chamber, to share his thoughts. Sir, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening, everyone who's viewing this program. Welcome to the Bengal Chamber's Olympics Adda. The Sports Development Committee, under the stewardship of Mr. Subroto Datta, Senior Vice President, All India Football Federation and Chairman of Indian Football Association, has always organized extremely important and very timely interactive sessions before any international sporting event that happens, whether that be cricket, that be Olympics, or that be football. And before the Olympics today also we have Olympics Adda, wherein we are extremely fortunate to have with us Dr. Narendra Dhruv Batra, President of the Indian Olympic Association, President International Hockey Federation, and member International Olympic Committee, who would be in discussion with Mr. Boria Mojumdar, talking about the prospects of India's chances in the Olympics, as also we would be having Mr. Joydeep Kormakar, Olympian, Ms. Dola Banerjee, Olympian, and Mrs. Shoma Biswas, another former Olympian, along with Dr. Partho Ganguly, who's a biobubble expert, to talk on India's chances in their respective sports and the biobubble challenges that the Indian contingent may be facing at Tokyo. Also, thank you very much to Mr. Boria Mojumdar, along with all the other speakers, for having made it convenient to be with us today. Particularly, Mr. Mojumdar, we are aware of the kind of trouble that you had to take and the problem that you have at home, but thanks so much for making it in spite of all the constraints. We will, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately not be having with us Mr. Abhinav Bindra, India's only Olympian gold medalist in the Olympics, because he had to back out at the last moment because of a meeting that has come up with Mr. Thomas Bach, International Olympic Committee President, and that's why he had to back out at the last moment. Last but not the least, our sincere thanks to our sponsors, Costco, JIS Group, GS Marketing Associates, Extra Time, and AdCorp, our communication partner, without whose help and support this program would not have at all been possible. Thank you all. Naumita, you're on mute.
Thank you, sir. Now I would request Mr. Tanmay Banerjee, Co-Chairperson of the Sports Development Committee, to deliver his welcome address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have all of you with us today. We are honored to have Dr. Narendra Dhruv Batra with us today, the President of the Indian Olympic Association. He has multiple other things also to its fold. He's the President of the International Hockey Federation and also a member of the International Olympic Committee. Welcome you, Dr. Batra, to our show today. I would also like to welcome Olympians, Ms. Shoma Biswas, Ms. Dola Banerjee, and Mr. Joydeep Kormakar, who are part of our panelists today. We're going to discuss about their experience in the Olympics with Boria Mojumdar. I would also like to welcome Dr. Partho Ganguly, who's a sports administrator, and he's also a member of our sports committee. Welcome you, Dr. Ganguly. Along with this, I would like to welcome all other members of the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industries who have joined in with us. I would like to welcome all our viewers who have joined in from different parts of the country to see this program today. And I would also like to welcome all my fellow members from the Sports Development Committee for joining in today. Under the able leadership of our Chairperson, Mr. Subroto Datta, who is the Senior Vice President of the All India Football Federation and the Chairman of Indian Football Association, we try to organize different programs at different times of the year related to the sports. As we all know, these are difficult times for everybody. Even during this COVID period, a few days back, we had another webinar called The Future of Indian Football Post-COVID-19 Scenario, wherein the General Secretary, Mr. Kushal Das, had come over and he expressed his views on how football in India is going to change after COVID. Apart from that, in assistance with the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industries, this committee also had another program called Music of the Mission, where the committee raised funds for Miss Swastika Ghosh, world number 5, women's under 17 table tennis player, so that she can prepare herself for international challenges. So like this, from this committee, we try to organize different type of programs. We have a flagship program called Ratno Garbha, which we do over the years. It's been almost 7 years now, wherein, we try to felicitate, or we try to salute the mothers of achievers from different fields of life. So when this Olympics came over this time, I think this is a time when this is going to be an absolutely unique Olympic. For the last 125 years that this Olympic history has started, I think there's been only 3 times that either it has been cancelled or it has been postponed. The first 2 times being the World War I and the World War II. And I think this COVID-19 is nothing less than any of these world wars, because this is the first time that has been postponed from 2020 to 2021. Around 206 nations with 11,000 athletes are going to join in this mega event, where from different sporting activities, athletes will come over. That's the human spirit that we are going to salute, because after COVID-19, everybody is worried. I don't know how players, how athletes are trying to cope up with them. That is all that we are going to discuss today with Boria and the other panelists and Dr. Batra. But we definitely feel that this time it's going to be an extremely rosy scenario for the Indian athletes who are going there. Over the last 125 years of history that India has participated, I think till date we have got only around 28 medals in our tally. But this year alone, our experts are going to analyze in just a few moments from now. We are expecting double-digit medals only for this year. So with this, I would like to welcome all of you to this very, very enriching session with Boria, Dr. Batra, other Olympians and our other panelists, so that at the end of this show, we can actually look hopeful that India actually gets to the top. With this, Boria, can I just request you to kindly take it over from here and take it forward?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tanmoy. Anyone else who's on not on mute, if you kindly put yourself on mute when Dr. Batra is speaking. Thank you very much. This is actually India's 100th year of participation at the Olympic Games. It started with Antwerp in 1920, and fascinatingly so. By the way, Dr. Batra has a cricket connection. He and I did BCCI politics together at one point. So it makes sense to say this story, that the Indian representative at the Antwerp Olympic Committee meeting in 1920 happened to be Kumar Ranjit Singh ji. So Ranji was Dorab Tata's representative at Antwerp when the first Indian contingent was supposedly going. In fact, before that, in 1912, I've got a series of letters which I discovered at the Public Records Office at Kew Gardens. The first time an Indian team was supposed to go was in Stockholm. So it's a rich history. Olympics is not simply about medals won and records broken. And Dr. Batra has actually done incredible work with the Indian Olympic Association. Indian Olympic Association, the way all of us have known, at least I while growing up, was they would get up during the Olympic Games and they would go to sleep after the Olympic Games. And I have proof. When I was working on my book on the history of India's Olympic encounter and I wanted a photograph of Abhinav Bindra, I was told shooting federation ke paas jao, hockey federation ke paas jao. This was the story, and it was a story of jugaad. Under Narendra Batra, and I've got no problems in saying this, under Narendra Batra, for the first time, we have structure. We do have structure. We have transparency. If you are on WhatsApp with him, you will know. If you are critical of him, he will still put it forward. If you are, praising him, he will still put it forward. There is transparency and there is accountability. Dr. Batra, you have forever told me that the Olympics is happening. Every time when I've called you in panic, at least 20 times over the last 1 year. And each time you've told me, chinta na kare hoga, और चिंता ना करें इंडिया अच्छा भी करेगा. So first question to you, हो तो रहा है, अच्छा कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं? Your thoughts, how is it shaping up?
I would say that thank you, Boria, for all the kind words you said. I don't know whether I deserve them or not, but I'll just take it over from here. I'll say that this is not what's happening overnight. I took over in 2017, and since then I've seen that it's been a continuous build-up for Olympics. We did have difficult times since the COVID started. For last almost 2 years, I can say now this problem has been going on. We did have difficult times in April or May 2020, these 2 months, where should say that the training was affected. The athletes mentally prepare for peaking in a particular area that's Olympics 2020, but then they had to move down and then build up again for the 2021 Olympics. So things by and large started shaping up again from June onwards 2020. And I don't think we have looked back after that. It's a result of all 3-4 years of training. So athletes, I would say, all the 127 athletes who are going there. Yeah. Sorry, 26 athletes, I would say, who are going there, are fully fit, raring to go. If I say the Indian athletes face any difficulty, that's same for other countries also. So it's a level playing field. The only difficult situation is that we have a 3-day quarantine period. These are from 11 now the countries have become 14 since yesterday. So, but then whenever you go somewhere, law of the land also has to be respected. It's the Japanese government which has taken these decisions. So we need to respect that, and that should not be any excuse of any underperformance or anything. So everyone is updated, all the athletes know how they have to do, what they have to do during those 3 days. So as I have been saying always, so I am certainly hoping for good results.
So Batra sir, when you say that, this quarantine bit, again, you and I have discussed this. But even when this quarantine happens, there was a bit of a dilemma that are they allowed to train, or are they allowed to sort of mix with each other, or are they confined to their rooms as in hard quarantine? What is exactly the norm? Because it's still pretty grey.
I'll tell you what, these orders are not issued by the Tokyo Organizing Committee. These orders come from the government. And when you know how government functions, the bureaucratic decisions always leave open for both sides. They have issued a circular that, yes, you can go and practice, but you will not come in contact with any other NOC. Now, if you say any other NOC, this is my first Olympics actually. You are a veteran on it, you will know much better than me. Then when you go on a field of play, you have 20 NOCs on field of play. So where do you go then? So this you have given me a permission with one hand, but taken it back with another hand. So this is a confused situation. So we'll go and see, we face it how it goes, because none of the teams have started, whichever the 14 countries are who are affected by it, none of them has reached over there to know what the actual situation is. So we'll see what it comes, but we are mentally prepared that we may not be able to practice, so that should not be an excuse. So teams which are to play on 24th are reaching on 18th, so their quarantine ends on 22nd, so they're ready to move after that.
Okay, for example, for the media, Batra Sahab, I mean, in our case, they have said 3 tests before you go, and then for these red zone countries, the 11 that you're talking about, in fact, today the regulation has come, that we will be tested each of the first 7 days. That we will be tested for the sort of arrival day plus 7, and then every 4th day. So that's the regulation that they've given us for the media. Anyway, coming to sport, when you say we are the best prepared, and frankly, we are. Because when I see the range of sport, and I'll divide this question into 2 parts. One, in terms of medals, we actually have a realistic chance in athletics for the first time, perhaps, after a long time with Neeraj and some of the others. In shooting, we have huge opportunity with the 15 who have qualified. Boxing, wrestling, badminton. So if you really go through the hockey, number of sport, all of a sudden you are seeing medal opportunities at multiple levels. Is that what pleases you the most?
Boria, you'll not agree with me when I answer this question, because you are in West Bengal and I'm sitting in Delhi. So it's on a lighter side, I'm saying that. I'll go by what the Honorable Prime Minister said, that we should not put any pressure on the athlete. I know what I have been saying all along. So I'll use the word, instead of medal, I'll say that I do have a lot of expectations of athletes coming back with glory, and instead of putting any pressure. Why I used to say that these are our expectations and all, it's not that the athletes have been provided every facility and they have been going and coming. No, we have been monitoring their progress also. How they have been shaping up, how they are performing, whether it is athletics, whether it is badminton, whether it is shooting, whether it is anything. Whichever tournament they participated, whatever results, every athlete has an up and down, and we understand that once you peak, you have to go down, you have to peak again. So we have monitored it, and it's a result which has been consistently monitored over the last 3 years now. And fitness also forms very important part of it, because we will not be able to deliver in such high intensity game if you are not fit. So we have measured all those levels. These records are with us for over 3 years now, I can say that. And based on their consistent performances, we have made these assessments, because if you go by history, it's how you are continuously performing deliver the result on end of the day. So that's how we have been seeing, or seeing on the medal side. Regarding the things, I mean, the sports you have mentioned for medal prospect, I consider every athlete who's going there to be a medal prospect, and India would actually be competing for medal possibilities, I would say, in 88 disciplines, 88 games. So wherever the Indian athletes are going, you will be competing in 88 medal possibilities. We have 79 quota places in 18 sports disciplines. So I see a lot of scope. And you mentioned boxing. For the first time, 9 athletes have qualified from India. It's never happened before. In fencing, first time an athlete is going from India. In swimming, for the first time, 2 athletes have done A category, which has never happened before. So these are the results, I would say, of consistent performances, or the way things have been built up. You may not see the results now, but the beginning would be made in Tokyo, but you will certainly see the results coming up in Paris and LA, because we have already started training athletes who are in 15, 17, 18 years of age. In academies, they are already being prepared for various disciplines for our to prepare, I would say, for 24 and 28. So ये सारी चीजें चल रही हैं. And Boria, you mentioned about that media has been told that every 7 days you will be tested.
No, sir, every day. Every day for 7 days.
I know. एक और उसमें मैं ऐड कर दूं आपके लिए. You cannot drink 30 minutes before anything, water or anything. Then
or
you cannot brush your teeth.
Yeah, correct.
And the third thing is that you cannot even smoke. I don't know whether you smoke or not. So 30 minutes you have to take all these precautions.
Correct. So you can't smoke, you can't eat, you can't brush. That's the 30-minute requirement. सर मुझे ज्यादा डर इस पे है कि वो सैंपल खुद को कलेक्ट करना है. इतना दिन से तो इतना टेस्ट हुआ है, कोई ना कोई ने कलेक्ट कर लिया है. वो सैंपल खुद को डालना पड़ेगा. दैट इज माय बिगर फियर. एनीवे वो देखेंगे जाके क्या होगा. आप नंबर तो नहीं दोगे. दैट्स ओके, एंड आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई यू वोंट गिव मी अ नंबर, बट tell me, give me a realistic sense, because the chamber would also want to know. I for example have no doubt that this is actually a team that can better London. This is a team that will give us the best performance in the history of India's Olympic encounter. Are you confident of that?
Absolutely.
So
I'm fully confident.
So
but no numbers, but I am fully confident that I think by far the way I have seen athletes prepare, this should be the best prepared contingent going to Tokyo, by far.
The other thing, Batra Saab, which I think you guys deserve a lot of credit, is even in the midst of COVID, be it the shooting team in Zagreb, be it the boxing team in the Middle East, be it Neeraj and others in Europe, you all made sure that athletes' training did not get impacted. That was quite a humongous challenge that you managed to pull off. Thoughts on that?
It's based on discussion. See, it's not credit going to one person. I think that would be unfair. I think a lot of people have put effort in it. The discussion starts with the National Sports Federation, because we do ask them that your so-and-so athlete has qualified or is likely to qualify, because qualifications are happening till 1st of July, 30th of June. So we do keep in touch with all the federations, and then they give us the ideas in discussion with athletes which are the best places they can train under the present circumstances. And they see, every athlete needs to have a competition before you go into Olympics. Many sports could not have, but whosoever had the opportunity, they were not denied that opportunity. So it's based on continuous discussion. And I would say last 3 or 4 years of my tenure, I think we have had the best of relations, whether it's the National Sports Federations, whether it's Sports Authority of India, or whether it's the ministry. We have had the best of relations. And I think it's a result of combined efforts that nothing was stopped and everything went through in a very nice and a graceful manner. And that's where now we feel that the results should also come in that manner.
Yeah, and that's when some, organizations like the Chamber come in. If I take the Chamber as a think tank, I mean, I see a revolution happening in India's Olympic sport because it's no longer you, as in the IOA, or the ministry. I see corporates like JSW and others coming forward. I see foundations like a Go Sport and a OGQ and others coming forward. So all of a sudden, there is a kind of a groundswell. Even BCCI contributing a little bit of money. So all of a sudden, India is waking up to the fact that we can be a multi-sporting nation. वो क्या आपको सबसे ज़्यादा please करता है?
I think cricket used to take almost 95% of the sponsorship money, and rest all of us were playing in the balance 5%. और आपके यहाँ तो फुटबॉल के बहुत बैठे हुए हैं लोग, वो 5% में भी most of the share went to football. हम लोगों को तो बड़े छोटे से में survive करना पड़ता था. So it's happy to see that now business houses coming forward to support Olympic Association where you don't have any sponsorship, because in an individual sport you can put your name on the jersey or something. IOA cannot offer you any such privilege. So it's just that they come with an idea of supporting the country or supporting the nation or supporting the athlete. So that's a good thing. And you said that a lot of business houses have started their, like you said, Go Sports or JSW or other, they have started this. So it's a good initiative. मैं इनको कहूँगा कि थोड़ा और डेप्थ में जाएं. If they start doing all this from ground level, I think. See, when an elite athlete is created, you take over, then there are a lot of people supporting them. But अगर contribute ठीक करना है ना sports में, pick up the athlete from the age of 12 or 15 and then groom him and bring it up to the national level. जो तैयार हो चुका है athlete, उसको final finishing touches देने, it is required, but if we need support from the business houses, it should come from grassroots level and not at the elite level only.
सही बात है, because finishing touches the top scheme भी दे सकता है. अगर आप नीचे से करोगे तो automatically the foundation becomes stronger.
I know some people may not like it, but that's the way I would prefer from the business house.
No, I agree there, and people are doing it. I mean, if you see foundations, they have been funding athletes for the last 7-8 years, and now they have qualified. So it's not as if
I think Reliance is doing a lot in football. I've seen that.
Yeah, and even foundations like Go Sport, for example. I mean, whether it's in parasport or even Olympics, they're doing a decent amount of work.
Go Sport भी काफी time से कर रहा है.
Correct. Batra sir, coming to
and
hockey,
even OGQ is doing it.
Exactly, OGQ also. Coming to hockey, आपका खुद का discipline. I mean, International Hockey Federation, for example, भूल जाइए और इंडिया बोलिए. इतना दिन आपने nurture किया Indian Hockey Federation को. And I was having a chat with Graham Reed, Manpreet, and Srijesh, and they sounded seriously confident to me that the biggest change for me is every time we used to concede in the last 2 minutes, हम गोल खा जाते थे और ओपोनेंट उसमें गोल कर देता था. अभी अगर हम देखें, इंडिया इज एक्चुअली द फिटर टीम और वो लास्ट 2 मिनट में हम स्कोर कर रहे हैं. योर थॉट्स ऑन हॉकी?
Like I said, that you started that hockey is also one of the medal potential, and it's basically based on how they have been performing for last 3-4 years, consistently performing. And the best teams in the world, you can say Holland, Belgium, Australia, Argentina, Germany. I think there's not even a single team with the men team has not beaten, and every time it's a tough match. It's not an easy match. Now it's not that you are India as a pushover and you can just push them aside. Fitness wise, I would say not only men but the women, they are the fittest in the world. You would be surprised. I know somebody sometimes discussed yo-yo test for cricketers. I don't know where they fared out of 24, but the men team is 23 plus out of 24, and no one can do better than that. And women are 21 plus, which is amazing. I must say they're as fit as any European team or these teams in the world. So on fitness side, we are now worried. It's good to see that they are very diet conscious also. They know it's not that paratha and makhan anymore. It's what you need, protein, carbohydrates, whatever you need, it's balanced and it's done in a very scientific manner. So based on that consistency or ये सारी चीजें देखते हुए, I'm quite hopeful that hockey should do well. Right now, I can say I should see them in a top 4, and women I would see top 6 or definitely top 8. Not beyond that, but on a given day they could even be further up.
Correct. I mean, women, if you really see, अगर हम quarter finals पहुंच जाते हैं, once we make the quarters, then it's anyone's game. Then to the game starts. I mean, Rani Savita and Sad Marine were on my show, and it was the same thought that let's make it to the quarters and then we will see. And you said fitness, they do 8-hour training schedules. I was shocked to hear. I mean, 8-hour rigorous training schedules is incredible, absolutely incredible. But last few minutes, what has been the biggest challenge for you? Because आप कुछ भी कह लीजिए, हमारे यहाँ पे स्पोर्ट ओलंपिक्स हम लोग वो 4 साल के बाद वी वेक अप, गाली देते हैं आप लोगों को कि अरे 2 मेडल मिलता है, 1.3 बिलियन पीपल बोल के 10 दिन गाली देंगे, फिर भूल जाएंगे एंड फिर जग जाएंगे 4 साल बाद. If you can change that mindset, I think it's a human change. What has been your most important challenge as president of IOA?
It's not a challenge. It's my way of working. That's the way I work. People like it or don't like it. Many people don't like it. So, see, if you are doing your work honestly and you know what the end result is going to be and you are not confused, you are convinced what I'm doing is right, you will always have opposition. So you have to just walk over that opposition and just do what you feel is right. There will be opposition. I know if there are 40 members of IOA, 10 may not agree with me even nothing absolutely today, but that's their loss. If you don't want to prepare your teams, then I don't think you should be even sitting in the federations. See, we are not here to just go on foreign tours. Like I told you, this is my first Olympics. I've never been to Olympics. I have to go because I'm president of IOA. If I don't go, they'll tell, अरे भाई इसको तो स्पोर्ट्स की कोई परवाह नहीं है. So I have to go. आपको ये लेना ही पड़ेगा seriously. And I have no hesitation in naming people in future also if you are not delivering. So please make way for others. See, जो लोग interest लें, आपको teams country के लिए तैयार करनी है. Don't have people just going there for a holiday. Please, हमारे यहाँ बहुत talent है, बहुत चीजें हैं. Like I'll tell you, athletics has about 50 plus medals in Olympics. Aquatics has 40 plus medals. First time, only 2 athletes have qualified in A category. Why we have been sleeping over it? Fencing has about 14 medals. Why have we been sleeping over it? First time of gymnastics has so many medals. Cycling has so many medals. We are nowhere. We are competing in events where the medals are limited. If India wants to plan 50 plus medals, then athletics, gymnastics, fencing, cycling, judo, all these sports have to grow. So medals yahan pe hain.
Love this attitude, because I'll put a statistic for my viewers. The United Kingdom in 1996 had 1 gold medal in Atlanta. Check your records. 1997 lottery funding comes in, and exactly what Dr. Batra just said. They picked up sport where multiple medal opportunities were there. Cycling, judo, and all of a sudden 30 medals in London, 30 gold medals in Rio, and we see a revolution in British athletics. This time will be less. That's what the prediction is. But at least they are a superpower. I mean, whether it was Victoria Pendleton or a Jessica Rennies, I mean, all of a sudden the country backed its Olympic athletes. That's what we have to see for India. Batra Sahab, last couple of questions before I let you go.
मैं थोड़ा ऐड करूंगा. I think I have this opportunity to sit in front of मेरे को Bengal Chamber of Commerce के function पे. तो मैं कहूँगा कि अगर industry houses can pick up a sport, like Odisha has taken up hockey. First time a government has taken up a sport. तो इस तरह से अगर कुछ sports को कोई individually pick up कर ले, Reliance has taken up football. तो कोई किसी sport को pick up करे, तो then sports can definitely grow up. Like you said, lottery funding, India में lottery funding नहीं है. But business houses should pick up one sport, divide कर लें कि कोई diving ले लेगा, कोई swimming ले लेगा, you pick up any part, कोई men hockey ले ले, कोई women hockey ले ले. In this way, I think teams can be built up. और उनका वहाँ पे presence on jersey name and other things can come. You will certainly find 30 big business houses in India to take up one team, and it won't make much difference to their bottom line of the balance sheet. But it will do great service to the nation.
True. Last question, and on the same lines that Dr. Batra said, whether it is a Netra Kumanan, whether it is a Bhavani Devi, for the first time we are talking sailors, we are talking fencers, we are talking table tennis players, we are talking multiple sport where India is represented and with realistic chance of making it to the podium. That is a change. And I'm also making a prediction here that Batra Saab will not, and I understand his position, but India will or should win double digit. He's been on record saying this to me on my book launch, at my book launch. And I'm also saying the same for the Paralympics, that India should win 10 plus, 12 plus medals at the Paralympics. And that is also a sensitive change this country is currently going through. That, disability sensitization is an important plank of the Olympic movement, which is societal change. Batra Sahab, when that opening ceremony happens, पुएर्टो रिको मान लीजिए देश ही नहीं है, यूनाइटेड नेशंस में जगह नहीं है, बट चलता है तो उसको आइडेंटिटी मिलता है. जब तिरंगा लहराता है हमको आइडेंटिटी मिलता है. ओलंपिक ओपनिंग सेरेमनी, ओलंपिक रिचुअल, when the tricolor goes up, it gives me goosebumps. आप पहले ओलंपिक्स कह रहे हो आपका, but when you're going there as president of IOA, give me your personal feeling. How excited, how apprehensive, how confident, how jittery?
देखो, honest answer, मैं वो जो जा रहा हूँ वहाँ पे, my intention to see that first the contingent is safe, secure, और उनकी जो requirements हो वहाँ पूरी हो. Opening ceremony अगर हो भी सही, I will not be able to attend because it will be my 3rd day of quarantine. तो अगर कुछ भी देखना है तो TV पे देखूंगा. Excitement, yes, because it's first Olympics and I would like to see the Indian flag going up again and again. I'll be visiting all the venues where India matches would be happening, try my best to do that. Because I do have the all area access cards in all places, and because you are a president of a country, I mean to say NOC, then you have certain privileges, you get transport facilities and everything. So movement will not be a difficulty for me. So I hope to be present at all the events that are happening. कहीं कोई overlap ना हो जाए तो मेरे control में नहीं है. Excitement बहुत है, but situation भी ऐसे है कि my job is to see that everybody reaches safe and everyone comes back safe.
Lovely.
ये मेरे लिए बड़ा important है.
Lovely. I'll finish off there. Narendra Dhruv Batra, as I said at the start, has been great as an administrator. And like he said, this is also his home stretch. He's been there at the helm for 4 years. Olympics to Olympics is a cycle. And Narendra Batra is completing his cycle. Imagine what it will mean for him if India returns with 10 medals. He doesn't want to put a number, and I understand why. But if he does, see, the most important thing is for the first time, 126 athletes and 75 officials. Never happened. It will always be the other side for India. Babus are less. Numbers have been lessened. That's the impact of these administrators. Narendra Batra, more power to you. 19th flight में मुलाकात होगा, एक साथ जाएंगे, मास्क नीचे करके खाना भी खा लेंगे एक बार, कोई problem नहीं है. चलिए, all the very best to you. Thank you very, very much for being part of it. Batra साहब, you've always been a super help. पॉलिटिक्स में भी, सब कुछ में भी. रात का 11, साढ़े 11 बजे आपको फोन करके तंग करता हूं, आप फोन ले लेते हो. For all of that, thank you very much for being who you are. Tanmay, do I straight away continue with my other panelists, or should I let Dr. Batra go? Will he be there? What's the plan? I mean, I can, or you want to take over?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Dr. Batra, for the entire insight from the Bengal Chamber of Commerce. We really appreciate, and we would request, if time permits, after Olympics, when we actually come back with multiple medals, you should again come back to our show once, and then we need to ask Boria to ask you the number, to give you more. Yes. So thank you so much for spending time with us.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So Boria, now you can continue with the other panelists, I suppose, and you can take the program forward.
Sure.
I can leave, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Batra sir. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Batra sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Batra ji.
Okay, so the second part of the program, and I have 4 very illustrious people to join me on this panel. Joydeep Kormukar, a very dear friend, came the closest possible. In fact, if the new rule had not kicked in, Joydeep would have won a medal in 2012 rather. I mean, for an Indian in the 50 meters, I covered that event, was there in London for Joydeep, 595, and thereafter in the finals, if you see Joydeep's final score, he deserved the medal. Shoma, one of our greatest heptathletes, perhaps one of the best ever, always an inspiration to many. Shoma, welcome. Shoma Vishwas, Joydeep Kormukar, Dola Banerjee. We have a great chance this time in archery, especially with the Paris World Cup. We've seen what Deepika has done, 3 gold medals. Otanu and Deepika were on my show day before yesterday, sounded very confident to give me a real sense of what it will be with the archery contingent, one of the best ever that India has produced, Dola Banerjee. So that's the panel, and I will also be having with me Dr. Parthasarathi Ganguly, very important, because all of us will be in a sense of a bio bubble. not exactly a bio bubble, but Olympic Village will be a bio bubble. All of us have been told you cannot take public transport if you're media, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Can Japan implement this size of a biosecure facility? Partho Ganguly, who has done it for the I-League, also part of my panel. So I'll start with you, Joydeep. Everyone's saying for 15 shooters will give us 10 medals. Slightly unrealistic, but there's no debate that this is the best shooting contingent in a long, long time. If you see their age, if you see their performance, if you see the confidence, if you see the last 3 years, including the last bit of preparation in Zagreb, they are in top-notch shape. Your first thoughts, Joydeep Kodukar.
Thank you very much, BCC and I, for inviting me for this webinar. It's a very important and relevant thing which is going on. Olympics is just, I think, 2 weeks away, not even 2 weeks. And we are really prepared. We thank Dr. Batra, who was very, very vivid and very practical in his speech and explaining about the situation and the expectation. Of course, we have a lot of expectation. The fans and the followers and the sports lovers, they, of course, go by emotion. And we do expect, we put numbers, double digit or maybe more than that. But we athletes or maybe coaches need to think about that. Definitely, the shooting team has been one of the strongest ever, I would say. 2012 was our best outing, but this time around, everybody is expecting that the shooting team will be winning a lot of medals, more than that of the London performance, and be more talk about this, the preparation and all. I would like to say that there were a few criticism also in the last World Cup in Zagreb that the Indian team didn't perform well. If you don't perform well, you are not even in the finals in the World Cup. How can you be expecting medals from the Olympics just 1 month away? But I think if that was a strategy not to peak at that moment, I think as a coach also, I would think that it is a right decision from the coaches or the athletes not to peak, not to not to press too hard in the competitions, which is just a month away from the Olympics. It can be quite a strategy, I would say. I'm not very sure about what they did, but I feel positive about that performance also. If you go by the other World Cups, again, I would like to put things in the perspective first. Yes, we have a lot of athletes, like shooting athletes, who are in the world top 5. But again, we have to realize the world ranking system changed from the 1st of January. The International Shooting Sports Federation, they changed the rule from the 1st of January. And it was, again, starting from the scratch. So Delhi World Cup being the first one, and many strong countries who didn't participate in the Delhi World Cup would, of course, make the Indian shooters in an easy field to win more medals. And therefore, with those medals also, the world ranking came. And they were world number 1, world number 2, world number 3s also we have seen Indian shooters. But that's not the reality, I would say. We should not go by the ranking. Yeah, till now, what I've spoken, I think you might have felt that I'm a little skeptical about the shooting team. No, I'm not. But I want to put things in a right way, at par with the world, where you are not talking about your wishful thinking, but we are talking about solid medal prospects. Yes, the scores achieved by many shooters in Indian shooting team was phenomenal. And by that score standard, I would like to say that even if you don't have known opponents right now, because one thing I'm just going to say after this, that we don't have a real situation coming from the strong countries like China. We don't know their performance level as yet, because they are not participating in the last couple of World Cups and any other competition. We don't know their scores, what they are, in which level they are. So the Chinese, as we know, is the highest medal earners in Olympics in shooting, in many sports, in fact. But we don't know. We are in dark about them. So if we go by the competition level, it is certainly very difficult to say what will be the competition level in the Olympics. But going by the score, by the historical scores, of course, a few shooters are shining bright, and they are a huge prospect of winning a medal. At least we want many shooters to be in the final, and after the final, Boria, you should know, it's everywhere.
Are you giving me a number before I go to Dola and Shoma?
For shooting, 2 should be, as I say, there, but it can go up to 5. I would not be very optimistic beyond 5.
Okay. I have given India 3 from shooting. I will give my number at the end of the program. I've given India between 2 and 3 from shooting. That's my breakdown. So I agree with Joydeep. But Dola, if I can come to you before I go to Shoma. London 2012, Lords, Rio, we came close. Again, that match with Russia, especially the female recurve team, we were close. Wind, this, that, whatnot. Now, Deepika and Otanu together, they are in superb form. Do you see them with the experience behind them now? They are ready for the Olympic Games. Can they break that barrier? Because, this wind excuse we've heard for a long time, they are not giving that excuse anymore, which was great. And they sounded supremely confident to me. So your thoughts on Indian archery, Dola Banerjee?
बोरिया दा इस बार हम लोग का आर्चरी का चांस काफी ज्यादा है क्योंकि दीपिका बहुत अच्छा फॉर्म में है। जो लास्ट क्वालिफाइंग राउंड हुआ उसमें दीपिका को 3 गोल्ड मेडल मिला, जिसमें इंडिविजुअल, मिक्स टीम एंड टीम इवेंट में। और एक मेन थिंग जो है, इस बार हम लोग का मिक्स टीम इंक्लूड हुआ है, जो बहुत ज्यादा हम लोग का एडवांटेज है क्योंकि ओतनु एंड दीपिका दोनों काफी अच्छा मिक्स टीम में कर रहे हैं लास्ट 2 ईयर से। मतलब कोविड का टाइम में जितना भी टूर्नामेंट खेला है उसमें काफी ज्यादा अच्छा रिजल्ट हुआ है वो लोग का मिक्स टीम में। तो हम लोग का इस बार लेडीज टीम क्वालिफाई नहीं कर पाया, जो हम लोग का बहुत ही एक अच्छा चांस था, जहां कोमलिका बाड़ी एंड अंकिता भगत दोनों काफी अच्छा फॉर्म में था, बट कोलंबिया के साथ बहुत खराब से वो लोग हार गया। बट दीपिका का इंडिविजुअल मेडल का एंड मिक्स टीम दोनों मुझे लगता है बहुत, मतलब 2 मेडल एकदम कंफर्म मुझे लगता है, लेकिन कौन सा कलर का मेडल होगा इसमें बोलना काफी डिफिकल्ट है, बट 2 मेडल इज कंफर्म।
दोला একটা কথা বলুন, मुझे बताइए, ये जो ओलंपिक स्टेज में टेकिंग प्रेशर, डू यू थिंक आवर एथलीट्स आर रेडी फॉर दैट? क्योंकि वर्ल्ड कप में दीपिका कुमारी हैज बीन डूइंग वेल, वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप्स फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम, ओतनु हैज बीन डूइंग फैबुलसली वेल. He came close in Rio also. The women's team came close in Rio. Ultimately, Olympics में जाके हम वो मेजर मैच में रशिया कहें इन द क्वार्टर फाइनल्स इन रियो, ओतनुस को प्री क्वार्टर फाइनल्स अगर आप कहें, हम प्रेशर में सकम कर जाते हैं। क्या आपको लगता है ये एक्सपीरियंस, जो ये अनुभव इन लोगों के पास अभी है, 2 ओलंपिक्स खेल चुके हैं, विल दैट हेल्प देम इन टोक्यो?
एब्सोल्युटली, क्योंकि दीपिका का ऑलरेडी 3rd ओलंपिक्स है, और जो लास्ट 2 ओलंपिक में लंदन में उसका फर्स्ट ओलंपिक था, उसमें भी हम लोग सोचे थे काफी अच्छा चांस था दीपिका, क्योंकि बहुत अच्छा फॉर्म में थी, बट वो प्रेशर ले नहीं पाई क्योंकि उसका फर्स्ट ओलंपिक है। वो जो एनवायरनमेंट है, जो मैं अपना एक्सपीरियंस भी बोल सकती हूँ, जब 2004 एथेंस में मैं गई थी, तो उस टाइम में मतलब जाके मुझे लग रहा है मैं कहाँ आ गई हूँ। मतलब इतना ह्यूज पार्टिसिपेंट, इतना कंट्री सब जो आया है दूसरा गेम का एक साथ, एनवायरनमेंट सब कुछ सेट होने में काफी टाइम लग जाता है। बट रियो में भी दीपिका थोड़ा के लिए पता नहीं, मतलब उसमें भी उसका काफी चांस था, लेकिन मुझे इस बार जो लग रहा है, जो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस में, क्योंकि इस बार पेरिस में जो हम लोग का फर्स्ट क्वालिफाइंग राउंड हुआ था ओलंपिक कल, तो उसके बाद जब हम लोग क्वालिफाई नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन उसके बाद जो दीपिका मतलब जो 3 गोल्ड मेडल लिया, जिसमें मतलब उतना जो उसमें हार जाने के बाद भी वो मेंटली स्ट्रांग होके जो 3 इवेंट में जो गोल्ड मेडल लिया, मुझे लग रहा है इसमें उसका लास्ट 1 ईयर से काफी ज्यादा साइकोलॉजी के साथ अटैचमेंट में है उसका, उसके साथ में वो मेंटली काफी ज्यादा प्रिपरेशन ले रही है ओनली फॉर ओलंपिक्स। तो इसमें उसका इस बार का काफी चांसेस है, क्योंकि जो टीम है लास्ट जो मैच अगर हम लोग देखिए, जिसमें लास्ट हर राउंड में जिसमें 10 का जरूरत था, या योलो 10 या 9 शूट करना था, वहाँ हर बार दीपिका 10 शूट की है। जो उस प्रेशर में 10 शूट करना है, इसका मतलब मुझे लगता है ओलंपिक में के लिए वो काफी ज्यादा तैयारी की है, जो इंडिविजुअल में उसको काफी फायदा होगा।
ओके, शोभा, कमिंग टू यू, आपके पास आता हूँ। इस बार after a long time हम लोग एथलेटिक्स में मेडल का ड्रीम कर रहे हैं. नीरज चोपड़ा 87, 88, अगर द जर्मन वर्ल्ड चैंपियन विड्रॉ कर चुके हैं. तेजिंदर तूर 21 प्लस, बट रियलिस्टिकली नीरज चोपड़ा एटलीस्ट हम उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि वो मेडल जेन्युइनली जीत सकता है. योर थॉट्स on how Indian athletics has progressed and multiple people, बहुत लोगों ने क्वालिफाई भी किया है और बहुत सारे डिसिप्लिन्स में क्वालिफाई किया है. ये मेरे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. शोमा,
first of all, thank you, Boryada. Second thing is, I think मुझे लगता है कि इस बार फर्स्ट टाइम कि इंडियन एथलेटिक्स टीम वो जो रिकॉर्ड मिस ना जो 1912 में जो नॉर्मन पिचर्ड ने एथलेटिक्स में मेडल लिए थे, उसके बाद एथलेटिक्स में ज्यादा से ज्यादा कृष्णा पुनिया 12 तक और अंजू बॉबी जॉर्ज 12 तक उन्होंने पहुंचा, इतना फाइनलिस्ट हुआ. इस बार लग रहा है वो रिकॉर्ड तोड़ के जब मेडल मिलने का चांस है, बट आई कैन नॉट से कि कौन सा मेडल कितना मेडल, बट ऑब्वियसली नीरज चोपड़ा, तेजिंदर तूर, उनके ऊपर हमारे बहुत ज्यादा उम्मीदें हैं. लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से कमलप्रीत कौर का भी उम्मीद भी बहुत ज्यादा, क्योंकि कमलप्रीत कौर ने जो डिस्टेंस अभी फिलहाल फेंके उन्होंने, तो अकॉर्डिंग टू रैंकिंग वो अभी 6th में है वर्ल्ड रैंकिंग, और जो 6th रैंकिंग में है सेकंड थर्ड का जो डिस्टेंस है और उनका जो डिस्टेंस है इसमें ज्यादा फर्क नहीं है. 68.07, 68.31 जो थर्ड रैंकिंग में है, और हमारा कमलप्रीत कौर है जो कि 66.59. एक तो ये बात हो गया. दूसरी बात है कि कमलप्रीत कौर के लिए एक चीज और है, डर की बात ये है कि उसकी फर्स्ट टाइम है ओलंपिक्स. देखिए, कोई अपना देश में परफॉर्म करता है और कोई जाके ओलंपिक में परफॉर्म करना, दिस इज हेवन एंड हेल डिफरेंस. अगर वो प्रेशर वो ले पाती है तो मेरे ख्याल से वो बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस कर जाएगी. दूसरा है कि हमारा वर्कर्स जो 50 किलोमीटर एंड 20 किलोमीटर्स का वॉकिंग में जो है, दूसरा चीज है कि वॉकिंग में एक प्रॉब्लम है कि उसमें देखा जाता है कि इतना अच्छा करने के बाद भी एथलीट फाउल हो जाता है, क्योंकि वो इतना ज्यादा टेक्निकल इवेंट है. लोग बोलते थे कि ये इसने तो रनिंग कर दिया, इसलिए. और तीसरा है कि जो हमारे जो मिक्स रिले टीम, उसमें भी हम काफी उम्मीदें रख सकते हैं. लेकिन लास्ट बट वन मैं एक ही चीज कहना चाहूंगी कि ओलंपिक ग्राउंड में एट द टाइम, एट द प्रेजेंट, वो परफॉर्मेंस क्या करता है, उसका मेंटल प्रेशर क्या रहता है, वही आ पाएगा कि टाइम बताएंगे कि हमारे एथलीट क्या कर रहे हैं, हमें क्या मिल रहा है.
Okay,
दिस डिपेंड ऑल ऑन एथलीट.
yeah, true. Good point that it ultimately boils down to the day and how our athletes are able to take pressure or not. Partho, so much talk about should it have gone on, should the Olympics have gone on, will it add to the risk? Of course it will, everybody knows, but if you weigh the benefits and the risk, obviously the International Olympic Committee and the Japanese government have decided to go with the games. Give me a sense, can you create bio bubbles of this size? Is biosecure biohygiene protocols can be maintained of this size? Your thoughts on media, 29,000 media, 11,000 athletes, etc., 70,000 people making it into Japan. The numbers might now fall to 59 based on what government estimates are. So your thoughts on the Olympic Games, can it be done in a biosecure way? Partho Ganguly.
Yes, Boria, this is actually the size and magnitude of this event is, causing a lot of anxiety, I can say. I'm not saying alarm, but it's anxiety. And once this has been thought of by the government of Japan and the entire international community is with this event, I can only hope that it goes well. But with my experience of a much lesser magnitude event, where we handled about, let's say at the best, about 1,000 people and about 300 active participants on ground. What I can say is the success of this, whatever protocols we develop, whatever protocols we write, will depend upon the seriousness of purpose. If that attitude of I mean business is being held by the administrators and organizers everywhere, I think it will definitely be possible to maintain a reasonable degree of biobubble. The idea of biobubble is basically, as we all know, is to seclude, is to isolate people who are clear and with people who are not, unknown factor. The unknown quantity and the known quantity should never mix. Now that is, I think it is possible, but you have to be really religious about maintaining the protocols, because we have seen there are a lot of breach of protocols in many events, and some events have been called off also because of breach of protocol. So now it depends upon how seriously we can maintain these protocols. I'm sure we have all qualified people and very learned people and people with power and people with conviction, a lot of experience. But actually what happens is in this event, managing the show is not such a big issue. What is a big issue is, managing COVID, managing the spread of this pandemic. Because not only the players on ground or the participants on ground, it will affect the entire world actually nowadays. And many organized sports.
You put yourself on mute, Partho.
Or will not get a permission based on the performance of this particular mother of all sports, mother of all sporting activities. So what I can say, Boria, is that let's all wish, and you will be there, carrying our wish physically to Tokyo. So let's hope that, hello?
Yeah, go on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Hello?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, we heard you.
I can only hope it goes well. Depend upon the seriousness of purpose of the people who are on ground managing these COVID protocols.
Okay. Joydeep, last few set of questions quickly for each one of you before I throw it back to Tanmoy and the team. Partho's right in the sense that it will depend on ground, but there's the other thing as well. If you see the experience of the United Kingdom, the United States, if you see all these other, Israel, we now know that the chain can be broken. We know cases will rise, protocol will have to be followed, but sport will not stop. That's the reality of the world. I mean, do we really report cases of influenza? We don't. So then what is the stupidity of keeping this reporting on? Because there is no point. I mean, you cannot report a COVID case with a CT value of 35 plus. You cannot, because that's not the reality of this world going forward. And we now know that whether it's the UK, whether it is the US, whether it is Israel, countries which have vaccinated 70-80% of their populace, UK 60% of the second dose, 85% first dose, we will not see that. So sport will not stop. That's my first point. Joydeep, 19, 20, 21 age shooters, Saurabh Chaudhary, Manu Bakar, Elavenil Valerivan, is it good or bad? Is it good or bad? Does it mean that you're carefree, your first Olympics, 2 hoots with pressure, I will go and express myself in the sporting terminology? Your thoughts on that? Joydeep?
Yeah, I was on. Sorry. Yeah. So I think it's all positive about the whole thing that the young, the talented shooters like Saurav, Manu, and many others are there. And we have seen their attitude. It's always very positive. They are actually, if you see their body language and like the attitude, you really don't see that panic or maybe anxiety in their faces. So you always get a positivity from them when you look at them while performing, also even giving interview. So whether they are not aware of the pressure or they are not giving any prominence to that pressure, that I might not be able to say. But what I think is that these young athletes are really, really hardcore athletes who means business, because what I have seen in them is they are so technically good, they're mentally prepared. What I think, maybe the coach is also working with them to face the pressure in Olympics, because whatever they have faced all these while, last 2-3 years, we have seen Manu Saurav bloom. But the Olympics is a different ball game, as we all know. because as like Shoma told us, that it's the day. You can prepare for your lifetime. But as Usain Bolt says, like, that 9 second is everything for him. For these shooters also, whom we are expecting to win a lot of medals, it will be their day also. So, and I think a realistic picture has already been given to them, and hopefully they're working on the mental part. The technical part, you cannot improve from here. In fact, all the 40 shooters or 50 shooters who will be taking the lanes of that shooting range, almost everybody is amazingly good. They are technically superb, but there the mental strength will count, and it will be the only thing which will make the Indian shooters shine there in Tokyo. But again, having said that, the bench strength this time for the Indian shooters is something to talk about.
Yeah.
If, as we have seen in historical Olympic results, we are depending on some shooter who is going to surely bring a medal, but he or she fails. There comes the difference here this time. This time, if we are expecting a medal, sure shot medal from Saurav, maybe he fails on his day, and you can see Abhishek Verma overtaking him for that. You can see his scores also almost matching Saurav every match. If Manu fails, Rahi will be there. If Yashaswini fails, Manu will be there. So this huge bench strength is something which we used to envy from the Chinese team, maybe a decade back, is now back in Indian shooting. That is the biggest strength, I would say, for this year.
He's right. He's absolutely right. I was watching the finals of the pistol in Zagreb, and Rahi was special. In the finals, the first 6 sets, there were 5 perfect fives. Unbelievable shooting from Rahi Sarnobat there. And she's not the top 2 in that sense. I mean, the build-up has been about Saurabh Chaudhary and Manu Bhakar and the mixed event and all of it. And if you see commercials, you will see people getting featured. And great ads from corporates, but there are these very talented people. Dola, final question to you before I close with Shoma and Partho. Manoshik kotota, physical kotota, talent to shobar ache. All of these people are talented. How much is it in the mind and in the heart to go there, Olympic medal, and I will be the greatest ever Indian athlete? Dola Banerjee.
मानसिक प्रेशर এটা জানি सबके लिए रहेगा मानसिक प्रेशर থাকবে মানে এটা মানে কারুর কম কারুর বেশি तो এখানে जो कंट्रोल कर पाएगा वो जीतेगा मेन पॉइंट वही है उस दिन में अपना प्रेशर जो कंट्रोल कर पाएगा क्योंकि जो टीम के साथ मेरा कंपटीशन होगा जो इंडिविजुअल मैच जिसके साथ होगा उसका भी प्रेशर रहेगा मेरा भी रहेगा उस टाइम में जो एक शॉट 20 सेकंड का शॉट है उस शॉट में जो अपना कंट्रोल करके कर पाएगा अपना विन कंट्रोल कर पाएगा अपना जो मेंटल प्रेशर कंट्रोल करेगा उस दिन वो जीतेगा मतलब अभी जो है जो जितना प्लेयर क्वालिफाई किया सभी सेम है लेकिन उस दिन जो होगा उस दिन का अपना प्रेशर जो कंट्रोल करेगा वही जीत पाएगा
Okay, Shoma, you mentioned a pretty optimistic picture. Suppose India does win, what will it mean for Indian athletics? Will it actually finally mainstream athletics, open it up for corporate funding, more such events from Bengal Chamber and many others? Will it mainstream our Olympic sport and make us a multi-sporting nation? क्या हम finally multi-sporting nation बन सकते हैं?
Obviously. As I told earlier, मैंने जैसे बताया कि अगर ऐसे हुआ इस बार मेडल जीते तो I cannot say मैं ये नहीं कह सकती हूँ कि मेरे लैंग्वेज से मैं क्या बताऊँ बट in my heart मैं कहीं ना कहीं मेरा दिल कह रहा है कि इस बार कुछ होगा इस बार कुछ होना चाहिए क्योंकि हमारे एथलीट जो प्रोग्रेस कर रहे हैं हमारे एथलीट जिस तरह से प्रोग्रेस कर रहे हैं और सबसे बड़ी बात है मैंने जैसे नीरज चोपड़ा तेजिंदर तूर को देखा साल भर जो इंटरनेशनल कंपटीशन कर रहे हैं उनका जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज है उनका जो एप्टीट्यूड है उनका जो थिंकिंग लेवल है ये वाइट वर्ल्ड रैंकिंग एथलीट जैसे करते हैं मतलब होता है वैसे ही let's see.
Okay. I love the attitude. I love Shoma Vishwas's attitude. I love it. I mean, the fact that she said "Dil se lag raha hai kuch hoga" is exactly what 1.3 billion Indians. Joydeep Kaurkar's smile said it all. It was beautiful. Great words, Shoma. Partho, there will be a breach. There will be cases. How will the organizers do damage control? To what level can they control panic? When you're getting 70,000 people into a country, it is bound that there will be COVID cases. How will they control that narrative? Your thoughts, and how should it be controlled quickly?
First of all, adequate isolation chamber should be there so that if anybody is detected, they should be immediately moved out. And all these, whatever the rules, regulations, everything should be clearly spelled out so that if, what's happened, I have seen that we have a tendency to hide. There is a tendency to hide when one is detected or one is having a symptom. They do not disclose it for the fear of being taken out. This has to be properly, the doctrine, I would say. I mean, everybody should believe in that cause that we cannot. I mean, winning a medal is not important in terms of if I spread this pandemic into this infectious disease into many people. So this has to come from all of us, those who are participating there, those who are administering there. That has to be there. I think media has a big role, Boria. You people can really play it up that it is better to be safe than sorry. But otherwise, let's let's look forward. As you rightly said, that sports must go on. I mean, we cannot be held captive.
No, true. I mean, if factories are open, if workers are going to factories, athletes are going to go to stadiums. This is their factory. I mean, you can't say sport will stop and economic production. I mean, an Olympic Games funds 35 different federations for 4 years. There's an economic whole, a world of sport there, a whole industry of sport that is funded by an Olympic Games. Somebody comes and tells me ban the Olympic Games. Are you an idiot or what? I mean, you're talking about $35 billion. What are you talking about? Ban an Olympic Games. I mean, talk about a country's economy. It is not even half the size of that. So we have to be realistic and practical that the games must go on. Avery Brandrich's statement in 1972, not the best man at that point in time with the Israeli massacre, but truly the games must go on. And it's been a pleasure moderating this panel with some very, very illustrious people and some dear friends. Joydeep Kormokar, Partho Ganguly, Dola Banerjee, Shoma Bishwas, thank you very much. Dr. Batra was previously very, very good. Thanks for having me. Back to you, Tanmoy, and your team, and Saurajit. So it's been a good program. We've had some interesting points coming up for discussion, fodder for thought, and hopefully at the end of the games, we will be able to do another one where we wrap it up and see how the impact of the games are on the world during COVID, not post yet, very much into the throes of the pandemic and going forward. Because we now have to learn to live with COVID, as Boris Johnson said the other day. That's the way forward for the world. Back to you, Tanmoy. I do expect an Indian performance. I'll give you my number before I throw it back. I expect around 9 to 10 medals, 3 from shooting, 2 from boxing, 2 from wrestling, 1 from athletics, and 1 from baddy. That's my expectation as of now. It's a conservative expectation because we have a good enough team. There is also Mira. There is also Mirabai Chanu who can give us a medal. So I'm not counting those. There's the men's hockey team which can give us a medal. So 9-10 is a pretty realistic and pragmatic assessment. Even if we better London, that will be a decent enough showing in the wake of what we've seen in terms of a monstrous COVID surge. On that note, back to you, Tanmoy, and your team. Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks a lot, Boria, for that silver lining and the way you finished it. But as we say, dil mange more. Although you said 10, we are looking for maybe 15, 16, or maybe more than that. And I think as a nation, all of us are going to be really, really happy if we are able to reach 12 plus. Thank you, Joydeep, Shoma, and Dola for all your inputs. I think it was fantastic to see such a positive outlook from all of you. And leaving us with this, it's all about the last moment, those last few seconds when actually the athlete goes onto the ring and he does his best. How much ever practice he must have done over the years, it's those last few seconds which is going to actually decide whether we win a medal or we don't. Dr. Ganguly, thank you very much for your thoughts. And as you rightly said, intent. Intent is the best thing. If somebody is hiding something, then with so many people around there, the best of administrators are going to fail. So let's hope for the best. Everybody who's going there, including Boria and our entire Indian contingent, they keep up to the rules and regulations and they maintain all the rules and regulations, which is going to be better for the sport. with this, I think we had a fantastic session. I would request my colleague and my dear fellow member, Mr. Shekhar Vishwas, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. Shekhar, if you can kindly take it.
Hello. I'm really honored for telling me to give the vote of thanks on behalf of the Sports Development Committee of BCCI. First of all, on behalf of the Sports Development Committee of the Bengal Chamber of Commerce, my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Narendra Dhruv Batra for taking time out from the extremely busy schedule. It was really, he's working day and night now. The Chamber really is indebted to him for addressing us before the most important global sports event. As a nation of 100 billion plus people, we have lots of expectations, and we are sure that this time Team India will really shine bright and bring more medals as expected. Many people are saying 10 plus, somebody is expecting 15 plus, but I am just saying it may be 12 plus. This Adda session with three ex-Olympian, Mr. Joydeep Karmakar, Ms. Dola Banerjee and Ms. Shoma Vishwas, along with the great sports administrator and biobubble expert Dr. Partho Ganguly, was also an interesting session. I am sure the entire audience, including myself, have enjoyed every bit of it. We are really thankful to Boriada for moderating the whole program. He was really outstanding as always. His knowledge in the field of sports is so vast that the program reached a different and higher dimension. We are also thankful to our sponsors. Without sponsors, no program, and the sports also cannot go ahead. The Costco, GS Marketing Associates, GIS Group for their wholehearted support. Our sincere thanks to AdCorp, our communication agency, and Extra Time for partnering towards making this program a grand success. We overwhelmingly thank the Sports Development Committee of Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which under the real able stewardship of Mr. Subroto Datta, Chairman, made this program a real possibility and success. Last but not the least, I sincerely thank Mr. Shorojit Purokayastho, the Deputy Director General of BCCI, and Ms. Navamita Das Odhikari, Senior Executive of Bengal Chamber, for their untiringly working for making this program successful. They were always in touch with us, with each and everybody, and really they have done their best for making this program before the Olympic a good one. I think everybody have enjoyed and come to know many points of the forthcoming Olympics, past Olympics, and about the progress of our athletes. And as Mr. Batra said, I am from the Badminton Association of India. I am also in close touch. And the ministry is really working very hard with all these national sports federations, so that the medal prospects really, higher medal prospects really come true in the 2024 and 2028 Olympics. Though I am really honored to give the vote of thanks, but still at the last moment, I would request our chairman, Mr. Subroto Datta, to say a few words before we closed it. Otherwise, it does not complete the session.
Good evening, everybody. It was a very, very enriching session. I think all of us, except Boria Majumdar, who is an expert in Olympic sport, because I know him from for many years now, and I always had his knowledge on Olympics and all the Olympic sports. I think he is one of the most learned person in the sports arena. So whenever I need any information, I always get in touch with him. And all the participants, they really spoke well and made all of us very hopeful that we can expect much better results than ever before. And I think the highest till now, Boria, please correct me if I'm wrong, we won, I think, 7 medals till now, isn't it? Six. Okay. 6 till now, and this time we are expecting a double digit. So be it, and let us all pray for that. And we will all be glued. All those who are not going to the Tokyo, we would be all glued to the digital media and the television sets to see our team perform. And I'm sure that our team would live up to our expectation, the entire contingent. And before I end, I must thank Mr. Batra, who is the president of Indian Olympic Association, for the last 4 years. That within 4 years, we can now think the medals tally to go up from 6 to 10 or more. In fact, I've read somewhere that we may also get 17, as high as 17, and I'm sure. All our players, athletes, all our participants would be safe and sound over there, and they would be able to give their best. We all know that in life, nothing succeeds like success, and the winner takes it all. So I pray to God and that God should be with all of our participants all the time over there, so that they can give their best when their time comes on their day of event, and they really come out with flying colors. So thanks to everybody who participated in this video event, and we are now all ready for the Olympic to start, and our Indian players and athletes to make all of us proud and live up to our expectation. Thank you, everybody, for your inputs. They were really enriching. We have learned a lot, and we are now hopeful that, yes, we would see our Indian flag flying many times in the Olympic arena during the Olympic session. Olympic event. Thank you, everybody, once again. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, everyone. That was all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.